Greetings and welcome to MentorMe Memorable Moments, where we teach you a total life balance, which includes good health. Good health is good mental, good spiritual, good social, good financial, and good physical health. Each component is intertwined yet interdependent, creating a single health entity. Yeah, so I am Tracy Everett Duncan, your host, and I'm here with my co-host,
William Craig III.
All right, always the third. And this is going to be a fantastic program tonight because
As usual.
We brought in all the tenants.
Yes.
And you want to know who we are?
Please tell us.
We are MentorMe Memorable Moments. Mental health. Why do you keep doing the same things over and over again, expecting a different outcome? That's insane. You're stuck. So let me help you get the stuck up out of here. We talked about the angry black female unleashed. We talked about how derogatory that statement is, and it's amazing how some people don't think that there's a problem with that statement at all.
What is the perception that I have about this woman that causes me to call her an angry black woman? And I believe in most cases what you will find is she's not an angry black woman. She's probably just an angry woman because of whatever has happened or whatever's going on, the foolishness that needs to stop. And the bottom line is that if you were placed in the same situation, you'd probably
be angry too.
Angry.
Okay, hello. Social health, stop. Wait a minute now. It's not all about empowering the people. It's about growing businesses, creating entrepreneurships, and synergizing communities.
I was teaching, it was long-term unemployment and long-term, she was on public assistance for many years. And her son was getting beat down going back and forth home. So I asked her the question. I said, so you want him to get shot, killed, or what?
That's right.
Before you move. Oh, I can't move. We've been there for this many years. I'm on Section 8 and I get some. I said, so you care more about Section 8 than you care about your son getting back and forth to home?
That's right. Financial health. It's not all about the Benjamins. Let us teach you money management techniques and help you get ready for the currency change. It's coming. Talking to you about goals and destiny and spending and money, and you're saying, well, I don't have any of that. I'm trying to teach you how to go get it, how to find it. I mean, it's right there. Broke has nothing to do with money.
Wow.
I want you to know that.
Tweet that one.
Yes, broke has nothing to do with money. Physical health. It's not all about the exercise. It's also about your heart rate and healthy eating. You know, the importance of detoxing. I don't think there's a question of should I detox.
Indeed.
I think it's when and how often.
How soon can I get started?
Oh, yes. This is actually a prosthesis of a breast. And I got this in 97 when we were teaching down at the Salvation Army.
Okay.
And so in this little plastic thingy, there are two types of tumors. I want to know if you can detect them both. When you're feeling that hardness and how large that is, that's a danger. That's a different stage of the tumor or the cancer.
Sure.
That requires an extensive amount of treatment to have it reduced.
Wow.
At that stage, it may be too late. Spiritual health. Everybody has to be connected to a spiritual being. It doesn't matter if we serve the same one. You need to be connected so that it will sustain you during challenging times and keep you balanced. Mental health. There's a doctor in the house, Dr. Michelle and Felicia Jameson. Social health. William Craig III and Dwayne Ross. Financial health. That's me, Tracy Everett Duncan, but you can call me Ted. Physical health. Welcome, Dion Shaw Bush. She's going to take your breath away. And spiritual health is the premise of our program. It's all of us. So connect with us. MentorMe Memorable Moments. You can find us on social media, www.mentorme411.com, Twitter, at MentorMe411, and Facebook, MentorMe Memorable Moments. And our home is right here with Listen Vision Studios, And we are live at Sunday, 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time at WLVS Radio. We'll be looking for you.
Greetings and welcome to MentorMe Memorable Moments. We are so happy to see them here today.
Absolutely.
You are joining us at our fifth Sunday of any given month, and that is our special health program with Around the Mic with Sir Charles Carey. And that's who's sitting with me right now.
At your service.
So we have got a fantastic program. We have multiple guests that are going to be here, and I think we maybe have somebody calling in.
Yeah, hopefully so. We may have a few callers with some questions, which have no
Always
idea
welcome.
what their comments or questions are going to be. So that should be something to look forward to.
Bring it on. So without further delay, this is Around the Mic with Sir Charles Carey.
Around the mic. Around the mic, Sir Charles Carey. Around the mic. Around the mic, Sir Charles Carey.
Well, welcome everyone.
Thank you.
So Sir Charles, what do you have for us today?
Well, as you know, every fifth Sunday, it's all about transformation. Transformation is the key thing in life, no matter who you are, where you are, or what you're doing. That is, if you are expecting to evolve. And I'm very fortunate today, in addition to Tracy, I have some guests that are going to help us, talk about transformation from different perspectives. First, I'm going to tell you a few things that, to bring you up to date, because it's been a while since I've seen you. The Cure series is my baby. That's what I talk about all the time. The cure, the solution, the resolution, the answer for you fill in the blank. So, with that being said, don't really remember exactly where I left off last week or last time, but I'm going to suggest that you get a pen, a pad, use Evernote. I like Evernote. It's a good tool. Use Penzu, whatever you need, because you're going to hear some things today that it may just resonate with you. And if it resonates with you, you may want to write that down. Sometimes, our memory doesn't serve us as well as we'd like. And my goal is for you to hear something that you want to take action on, something that you want to, really, be proactive with. I don't know what you do, how you do it, but if you're really not satisfied, or if you have an appetite for more, this is the reason for the pen, and this is the reason why I'm suggesting that you're going to walk away with 3 to 5 different things, because not only will I share some tips with you, not only will Tracy share some tips with you, but so will my guests. And we can go to the next slide. Basically, what I do is primarily for, next slide, business owners, people that are in leadership, people that, that have an appetite for more in their lives. And if that fits you at all, this program every fifth Sunday is perfectly suited for you, because I'm going to share some things with you from a non-conventional perspective that will give you something to think about, something to chew on, something to actually sink your teeth in. Now, I'm very fortunate. To my right, I have 3 experts from different professions, different industries, and I want to introduce them to you one at a time. From my immediate right, I have Sharon Parker, and next to Sharon is Nicole McFadden, and right next to Nicole is Dell McFadden. And again, we all have different areas of expertise from different industries. So Sharon, would you take about, I don't know, maybe about 30 seconds to talk about what you do? Because I know you work and all that, and your business is really what I'm really primarily focused on.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for having me today. The name of my organization is called ROSA. And ROSA means Remembering Our Ancestors Synergistic Association. It's an African American history organization that teaches our youth, our adults, and seniors about the importance of loving self. But the only way you can really love self, you have to remember who you are and where you came from.
That's right.
Absolutely.
That's right.
And Nicole?
My name is Nicole Morton McFadden. I am based in the DC area, and I am one of the members of Inline Dancers. Actually created the group about 4 years ago now. It's actually a line dance group that does not only line dance, but we do social events, functions, we do walks, we do everything from health, fitness, anything you can imagine with all age groups, primarily young people, middle age, and seniors, a concentration on seniors. I love my seniors. They've been working with me for a long time, and it's definitely an outlet for exercise that any age, any size, any shape, any fitness level can get involved with in our area.
Okay. And finally, Del, tell me a little bit about what you do. You've been doing this for a long time. Can you share what you do and why you're so passionate about your work?
Yeah, thanks for inviting me, first of all. My name is Dale McFadden. I work here in the District of Columbia, work with youth here in the District of Columbia. Been doing this work for about 20 years. I'm extremely passionate about our youth because I'm passionate about the future and I'm passionate about the plight of African Americans. And I really feel like helping young youth transition into adulthood, having the support services that they need, make an incredible impact on them and their contribution to society.
Wow.
All right.
See, that's why I think this is a fantastic group of people. I mean, we all have something in common, transformation and people, of course. I think it's important that for those of you at home that are watching this in real time, or if you happen to watch the replay, you need to understand how important people are. And I don't mean just in general, but specifically, there's so many different types of people that we interact with on a daily basis. It doesn't matter whether they're teenagers, adults, seasoned adults, or senior adults. And I'm talking about the 4 different personalities. People will say, if you've been exposed to the Briggs-Myers or the DISC program, you have an idea about the different personality types.
Right.
I like to use their more fun analogy with the shark, the dolphin, the whale, and the urchin, because it's just something that people seem to take and they can easily attach or relate to, because we know the shark is the person that's the go-getter. They're out there. They're going to make it happen. And the dolphin, they always want to have fun. And then we have the whale. The whale just wants everyone to just get along. Can't we just understand each other? You know? And the urchin, it's got to be in black and white. They want to make sure it's in the rules.
Hello.
So if you've heard those 4 different breakdowns, you have an idea where you fit into the big scheme of things. And truth be told, we probably have a little bit of different personality types, but it's important, whether you're in business or just in life, to know who you're dealing with. I mean, if you're in the grocery store, if you're on the street and you pass someone, you know, you want to treat people accordingly. I mean, you can't treat every single person you interact with, some grand way, but you want to be able to interact with people in a manner that you understand them, and hopefully they can begin to understand you. But specifically in business, it's very important so that you can become productive. Next slide, please.
So, Charles, Sir Charles, I apologize. This helps in, like you said, with business owners, but also in the workplace when the business owners begin to hire employees. They've got
Exactly.
to be able to get along. And what we have in the workplace is a mixture of the age groups, like you were talking about in the physical fitness and things. And if we don't learn how to get along, then we have violence in the workplace.
Yes, much miscommunication and malcommunication. The millennials, the baby boomers that are transitioning out.
Yes.
The
Transformation.
Xers and Y. I mean, I get confused after a while. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many different breakdowns and descriptions to explain who the different groups are and what they represent. But one of the things that really surprised me, you can move to the 87% slide. 87% of people do not like their jobs. And when I got that stat, I was like, what? That's crazy. How can you have a economy, a country as big as ours, and 87% of the people, east to west, north to south, are dissatisfied with their work? And that speaks to, in my opinion, just not all of, part of the problem that we're having in this country.
That's right.
People are in pain. They're displaced. They're misplaced. They have to have these jobs to make ends meet. They have to work because that's the only way you can sustain yourself. But you're doing something, you're sort of forced to do it, and you have no other recourse. Can you guys speak to that? With the fact that people are in this position?
Well, I think one thing to remember is that if you are in this position, that number one, you can do something about it. You don't have to stay stuck in that field. In whatever it is you're in, you have the opportunity to make a change, to transform yourself, your environment, and move into whatever it is that you're interested in. That's one thing. I think the second thing is you can stay there. There's nothing wrong with staying there if it's paying your bills, if it's meeting your needs on one front of your life. But you should also compartmentalize that job so that you have another part of your life.
You mean don't take it home with you?
Don't take it home with you too. But the other part of your life could be focusing on what you really do love, what you feel is your passion and your calling. So I may go to a 9-to-5 because I need that job and I need that money. But when I leave there, I go straight to what I love to do.
Right.
And
Balance.
that is where that balance comes in. Yes, exactly, balance. And so you have the option to either, stay stuck, like I said, stay there, be unhappy, or stay there and find what makes you happy and have, as you said so eloquently, that balance in your life.
What about you, Doug?
I think I can't answer that question because I absolutely love the work that I do. I absolutely love engaging youth and families and being in the trenches and being in the back alleyways and in the living rooms of families. When I started my work, I was actually in school for computer systems.
Really?
And this is, when computers were big and IT was big and Silicon Valley and all those things. And I was going to be a millionaire doing computers.
Okay.
And I had an opportunity to work at a level 4, level 5 school in Maryland, working with kids with learning disabilities. And it was through a mentor who created an opportunity for me at this school. And I always told him this was a gig. This is a gig. I'm going to do computers. Right. This is not what I'm going to spend my time doing at all.
Right.
And 20 years later, I'm still working with youth and family. And so it became a passion because I see myself and I saw my family in the same situation, growing up in poverty, growing up in Kenilworth, growing up in Woodland, Langston Lane, growing up in Valley Green, growing up in some of the most impoverished communities in the District of Columbia. But having a mentor, having someone who coached me and got my attention and pulled me out of stolen cars and pulled me out of situations and led by example. And today, I think I do it. We say it's selfless, but it's not. We get gratification from the work that we do.
Right.
And I don't want to hog the mic. I'll definitely talk later, but I think we're not going to see. I don't see a paradigm shift in the effects or the fruit of my labor. I see small successes here and there.
Okay.
But like a director, one of my directors told me a long time ago, she told me that I was very naive and that I wasn't going to change the world, but my focus should have been on walking in the right direction, taking incremental steps, so that when I finish my work, I can pass the baton to the next person to pick up.
Okay.
And that's how I look at this work. I'm not going to change the world, but I can change situations for some of the kids that I touch.
Yes.
And they will move forward and have impact on the universe.
That's
So
right.
you're like a human
That's right.
defibrillator, you know, family by family, you can maybe bring life back into, you can shock life back into them.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes. Helping them empower themselves, because we don't empower people. We provide
them.
support
Yeah.
services, inspiration, and hopefully they'll, through the interactions and what you bring to the table, they'll see some things differently. You kind of change that perspective, but also taking into account the environmental factors, because the environmental
Right.
factors are real.
Yeah.
right.
You know, and specifically in this community, years ago I did youth and gang work in this community. And you can go in any of these corners in any of these communities
Right.
and have the best inspirational speech ever. But if there's no food in my refrigerator,
That's right.
or I don't have Pampers, or grandma don't have medicine, or the utilities are about to be cut off, or I'm about to be evicted, I don't hear anything
That's
you're
right.
saying to me.
That's right.
I don't hear anything you're saying to me. And we have to understand the trauma that a lot of these families go through.
Right.
They're extremely resilient. They bounce back. And sometimes we just play as a catalyst, as a guide to get them to where they need to go.
Now, what about you,
right.
Sharon? What's your perspective?
What's the question again? Actually, I don't have an option. I never had an option to like my job or dislike my job.
Okay.
For me, it was a necessity. In order for me to come out of my situation, in the early 80s, well, actually 1987, I started working in the government, Department of Housing and Urban Development. I came in as an intern, and I worked and took advantage of every
Right.
opportunity that crossed my desk, even if I did not like it. I took advantage of those opportunities, and after 28 years, or it was about what, I would say 28 years, I decided, you know, as much as I need my 9 to 5, I need to do something that I'm passionate about.
Right.
So you're looking at an actual introvert, a person that has been shy most of her life and wanted to stay behind the scenes, but I had a passion. And my passion was to give back to people who, I don't have foresight, but I could see the writing on the wall about 8 years ago. I knew that our youth, our adults, and our seniors were going to be in trouble because history does repeat
Yes, it
itself
does.
if you keep on falling in the footsteps of those who really don't have your best heart at interest. And I saw a lot of us as African Americans, and I got to keep it real, actually chasing the dollar.
Right.
They were chasing the dollar, and they were giving our kids everything they wanted, honestly, but they weren't making them responsible.
Right.
They
Right,
weren't
okay.
making them work hard. They were just giving them things, and when all you know what else broke loose in 2008 with the housing crisis, we were all stuck out there hung to dry because we did not prepare our kids. So today, you know, 8 years later, unfortunately, Barack leaving the office, there's a lot of issues in the community. And starting Rosa was one of those initiatives I wanted to do to build synergy in the community. For 8 years, I had to come out of my shell, get into that creative mind, which is not my forte, but I had to do it.
Right.
So I got into the creative mind, and I started meeting people and hosting events so that I could bring people together. So for me, the 87% of those who don't like their job, think about the alternative. You need to pay your bills,
Right.
but while you're paying your bills, also think about what you can give back to the community. And that's where your passion comes in. Charles says all the time, you know, you have to be aligned where you're designed. Ask God for, you know, to uncover that passion that you have in you and give it back.
Well, see, that's one of the deals with, excuse me, Tracy, with the transformational model. People are so caught up in their existing lives, and I understand that there's so much going on that they don't seem to have an opportunity to just pause And pausing is so important because when you pause, you allow things to come to you. You allow yourself a chance to refresh your battery. You allow yourself a chance to sort of restart, clear the slate, and see things from a fresh eye. And if you can see things from a fresh eye, then you may realize that, yes, okay, maybe I should be praying more, meditating more. Maybe I should unplug so that I can be plugged into what I'm supposed to
the
do.
right thing. Yes.
But the only way you're going to be plugged into the right thing, you're going to need the right people around you, or some people around you that have something to say that resonates with you, something you can relate to it, whether it's financial, whether it's from a health perspective, whether from a historical perspective. And some people just don't know who they are. And I get that. It's not necessarily their fault. So you have people like us. You know, we're coming to the table with these different entrepreneurial professions and interests and expertise, and we go out in the community or we travel around and we do these different things. And my hope is that someone out there in that 87% is going to say to one of us, hey, how did you do that? You know, how did you get started doing that? Or, hey, I want to do that too. And that's an opportunity for learning. That's an opportunity for them to say, you know what? I could probably do that better than them. And that's a seed sown for this child, this adult, maybe even a senior, to go ahead and start anew in an area that they thought was just a figment of their imagination. You know, and I mean, I think the whole thing is, you know, again, it goes back to the pain, and we have to be the aspirin to someone's headache, as Del Toro says a lot.
But you know, I love what you said and what your mentor told you, that you can't expect to do it all. You know, and we're not supposed to, because the Bible does tell us that, you know, some plant, some water, but it's God that gives the increase. So, and I love that baton analogy as well, because I can only take it but so far. And I realize that, and I'm going to accept that in me, that this is my limitation. I will not hoard this work. Okay? If my name needs to be released from that plaque that's up in that institutional building, then release it in order to further the work ahead. But most people don't want to do that. I remember talking to a faith-based preacher at one time, and this person was telling me, okay, we need to cut the checks for the volunteers. I said, okay, wait a minute. What do you mean cut checks for volunteers? He said, oh, you don't understand. The shift and the mindset has changed. Volunteers now want to get paid. Well, then they're no longer volunteers. And that's what's going on in today. You want my help? You want my work? You need to pay me for this. This is what we're forced with or faced with in today's society. So nobody wants to give of themselves and not get something in return.
Well, you know, we were exposed to, oh gosh, I don't know what year it was, the Tulsa, what was that, 1930s, 1920, Tulsa, Oklahoma, when the African American community in Oklahoma was very rich and thriving. And, you know, our community there was destroyed because we were doing so well. You know, I'm not racist at all. I'll be honest with you. I love people because that's just how I'm wired. Regardless of my faith, I think pretty much I would have been that kind of person. But I believe that the African American community needs to seriously consider getting back to that mindset. You know, buying with each other, selling with each other, growing with each other. Because you take care of home base doesn't mean you don't care about what's outside of home. It just means that the first thing is going to be, I forget what's the phrase, charity starts at home. You know, and there's nothing wrong with that. You know, I have friends of various types, but at the same time, we as a people, on the big scheme of things, we have to learn how to work together. We have to learn how to trust each other. And these are some huge challenges for us, because this has been generational, that we have been programmed to work against each other, and that we've gotten so used to it that it's so second nature. So I want to ask Sharon, for example, in what you do, how does your work affect or help the community, or how do you feel it will help or affect the community?
Well, what I can share is that, first of all, I had to be prepared for my work. I had to literally quiet myself, get behind the scenes, write up information on what I was going to do for the organization, do a business plan, get that creative side going where I could, video record whatever I was doing, do social media. I had to literally do it all. And I had to do it all because someone shared that I must do it all because I don't have any options. And and once I got over being stubborn and said, okay, fine, I'll learn it all. And I did. So I created my own website. I mean, I learned how to video record. I learned how to do editing. And I knew what my mission was for the organization. So I created my programs. And one of the programs is Rosa Youth Empowerment Program. And it's called RISE. It's pronounced RISE. And that was created 7 years ago. But that program was designed to build synergy, bring people together. But I know, as each one of you all said, that people unfortunately have this crab, and you may not use this word exactly, but it's a crab in the barrel mentality.
Right.
And I had to learn with my shy self to come out of that, shyness and engage people anyway, because I felt people wanted to hear what I had to say.
Sure.
So I just started building relationships. Hosted events. I'm on my 5th event called the Annual Unconditional Love Retreat. And
I
everyone
like that. Tweet that.
People do conferences, they do summits, they do all kinds of different events. But I felt like if you open up your heart, if you say to people, I'm going to give to you unconditionally. I'll put my resources, I'll put my time, I'll put my energy in it, and I'll make it happen. I'll pay for it. I just want you to come out and share with the community who you are. Keep in mind, I teach African American history and culture. So each person who saw the value in coming out shared with the young generation who they were, which they would have never probably got an opportunity to meet. So for me, not to be long-winded, but it's just saying you have to take the initiative to not expect anything if you really want to impact change.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. In other words, you're doing it from the heart.
Yes.
Exactly.
I can say this. You said 5th annual, right?
Yes.
5th annual. Everyone up here in this panel for the past, oh my goodness, I can't even say how far it goes back because I think Nicole probably started it off many years ago. We have worked together in so many different capacities on different platforms at different venues over the past, I don't know, at least 20 years, right, Nikki?
Yes.
Yeah, we have done so many different things, from fashion shows to creating platforms for the local entrepreneur, author, politician, singer, rapper, comedian, mime dancer to showcase their talent for free. Literally. I mean, we have put together a platform professionally as it can be done with lights and cameras and recordings and interviews. I mean, giving away stuff and all that. And I say that to say that you do have to have a heart for what you do. And there's nothing wrong as an entrepreneur to get paid for your craft. In fact, you should get paid for your craft. But at the same time, there's a pruning process, and you need to learn how the whole business works. The talent is easy. We can always do the talent. But it's important, like Sharon was sharing, to know every aspect of how this works. Those are some of the beginning steps of being a real entrepreneur. Everyone wants to get paid. But do you know how to get paid? Do you know what it takes to market, to promote, to sell, to prepare, to get a venue, to set it up? And some of these are the same things that you need when I'm talking about Tulsa, Oklahoma, talking about supporting people that support you to build your own wealth within your own community. So that's very, very, very important, very, very key. Any suggestions do we have for, what we can do based on the climate of the country today? Any suggestions on how we can, get back to center or get back just any more healthier perspective? You got anything, Dal?
I'm just thinking about, we had the same conversation, I think last Tuesday I was on Roach Brown's show talking about all the youth violence and situations going on with law enforcement. And some of the suggestions that I made is that we have to get back to basics. We have to be able to support these families. We have to be able to find a way to keep these fathers in these households. We have approximately 2.4 million people in prison. Nearly 1 million are our African American brothers and sisters. How do we assist with getting fathers to stay in the household, support their communities? Because once you remove the male out of the picture, you really do a lot of damage to that community.
Absolutely.
And then just being on the journey, working with youth every day. My present job with the National Center for Children and Families is really to oversee providers who work directly with the kids. But since it's our passion and love to work directly with the youth, that's what we're doing. And just listening to them on a daily basis, they really feel abandoned, the ones who are not in contact with their fathers, or their father's in prison, they don't know which prison their father is in. Like, really think about that in a developmental lens, the impact that has on our youth. And they're angry about it, and they may not verbalize it. They compartmentalize it,
Right.
and a lot of their anger, we with our so-called middle-class selves, really not understanding a lot of the anger, or why is it that he went to jail over the smallest situation? It's because they're carrying around anvil-sized anger about society, and not feeling like they have a voice, feeling non-existent, feeling like they don't have a voice, and they're not part of society. And one of the things I really want to share, I had a young man, he's no longer with us. He passed away, that I was working with, mentoring. Great kid who really changed his life around. And I was coming to work one day. I wasn't having a great day. I was coming to work, and this is when I was doing the youth violence work, responding to homicides here in Northwest. And I was coming to work, and he called me. And I said, "What's up? Good morning, good morning." And he said, "Dale, I just want to thank you for helping me." And he said, "Last night I came in the house, and my mother was crying." And he said she wasn't crying because I robbed somebody or did something wrong. She was crying tears of joy because, I'm on the right track. I'm working now, and I'm doing this. And I said, okay, cool. I really didn't have time to sit and talk with him at the time.
Right.
And I said, cool, that's great, man. I said, anything I can do. I was trying to get him off the phone because I was dealing with my own situation. And he was like, "Dale, I need you to listen to me." He was like, "Man, I need you to listen right now."
Yes.
Okay.
So I said, okay. So I pulled the call over and I listened to him. And he said, "Man, I want to thank you because I finally feel like a citizen." Wow. I said, "A citizen?" I said, "Everybody's a citizen. Everybody's a citizen." He said, "No, man, I really feel like I'm part of society now."
Wow.
So a lot of these kids, they want to belong. They want to be in the larger society. They want to play their part. But because of their background, the door is shut, in their faces a lot of time. And so they don't come with that confidence. They don't come with that sense of achievement, belonging, and membership. And that's what we need to be able to help these youth with, getting there. And it takes the family. You can have programs all you want. But if you're just focused on the youth and you're not focused on a holistic effort to support that family with cross-sector support from government agencies, nonprofit organizations, stakeholders, and people in that community, there's no way you can change a community without the community. There's no way you can save a patient's life without the patient being part of the program.
Oh my gosh,
right.
yes.
Right? So and that's what, I'm kind of blown away sometimes through some of the efforts that we take around the work when it's really not a holistic approach. It's funding is one thing, no sustained funding, and some of the programs I can definitely say that's no more, like Weed and Seed. Weed and Seed was a great program, and it went away. And I think they also have Project Safe Neighborhood that's still taking place, but it's not on the magnitude of the Weed and Seed program, which I was the coordinator for 4 years here in the Northwest community.
And before Nicole or Sharon share more, I just want to say it's so unfortunate because many of the laws and the rules have been created to be counterproductive to the community. Whether you can get a job, trying to get an apartment, your rating, your score, or if you have a certain class of felon or misdemeanor, it prevents you from really assessing yourself and moving forward, applying
to
yourself.
Reintegrate into society.
Yeah, exactly. To reintegrate into society. And it's like, I'm trying to stay away from conspiracy, but I don't think it's conspiracy. I think it's by design, unfortunately, that they're working against the public. I hate to say it.
I'm with you. I think it's conspiracy too.
And it's like, come on, how can you expect to oppress a people, not one person, not 10,000 cases, but a people nationwide for years and years, have them conditioned to be a certain way that they turn into these quote unquote types of people that you expect them to behave certain ways, where you've created the groundwork for them to only have that course of action, and then you want to treat those people that you've created, their circumstances, and you give them no way out. You're backing them into a corner, and they have nothing. And then you have programs that they can't fix the problem. They can only put a Band-Aid on the gash, and you're expecting what? It's so frustrating.
Okay, no, you go right.
Let me share something that I found out in society. I think it's about exposure. A lot of people are not exposed to good things that I know that's going on in the community. And I'm talking from several organizations in Maryland, D.C., and in Virginia. One of the programs happening now is the Marion Barry Summer Youth Employment Program. And a lot of people don't understand how, different entities, different businesses has opened up that platform this summer for DC youth all over the DMV. And I'm sharing this because I work now with, I've been working with the Francis L. Cardoza Trans-STEM program. And they have youth at that campus where they're teaching young people to come in and get certified in trans-STEM. But because they haven't been exposed to the information, even though Marion Barry Summer Youth Program would have paid for it, they would have gotten paid, they would have gotten the certification. But if you don't know, you don't know. And I think it's our job collectively to do the research, to find the information, and make sure it hits all of our platforms 24/7. So I totally agree with the a conspiracy platform when it comes to wealth. It's not about color anymore. It's about the haves and the have-nots. And if you don't have, you're not going to get exposure.
That's right.
Period. If you have, you'll be able to be in the cities where the masses are, who have these great jobs, taking advantage of great opportunities. So if I can add any value, it is to open up the platform for and to encourage all professionals in every industry, every walk of life. Stop charging our young people to come out to their event. Stop it. Get them on your platform for free and expose them to the people that you have been exposed to. It's not fair for you to shine 24/7 while several of our kids are behind the scene dying every day. I got a problem with that.
Because if you don't charge them and you bring in the groups and the groups start growing, even if they don't grow, there is funding out there, whether it's local, state, or federal level, that will then pay for whatever it is that you're delivering to the community. But I tell you, I have to say this, because I've been thinking about this. I teach the financial health piece on this program. And when I saw that there was a bank in Atlanta that's going to become the first $1 billion ranking bank for the South, the first thing I thought about was when we grew our businesses back then, way back then, and we were doing well and we were doing business with each other, then some onlookers decided, oh no, can't have it, then let's destroy it. So then how do we protect ourselves this time around? Because, history does repeat itself. And we're in a digital age too. So if you go after them, then and my money's tied up into that, then what happens to what it is that I've created? A lot of these things we need to start thinking about as well. Have a plan B in place.
Absolutely.
I just want to say that I know I got a couple of texts. Some of our supporters have been trying to get through, and I don't know why they haven't, but we've got a real fervent and exciting and fruitful discussion here. We're talking about authentic transformation. I'm Sir Charles Carey, and my co-host is none other than the show's director, Tracy Everett Duncan, and we have guests with Dell McFadden, Nicole McFadden, and Sharon Parker. And I'm just really excited about our potential. However, there is so much work to be done. There is so much work to be done. And Sharon, I think you hit the nail on the head. You can't, get water from a stone. You can't get blood from a stone.
Right.
You can't keep asking or expecting the kids, our young people, regardless, I'm saying young, maybe even up to age, 22, 23, to pay for certain things if they don't understand how the game is played. We have to teach them how to play the game. They do have to be responsible, but at the same time, we have to teach them how to fish so that they can eat for a lifetime. And perhaps if you teach them how to fish, they will also include you in their lifeline.
Yes, they will.
That's
Yes,
cool.
they
That's
will.
tweetable if you want to put that out there.
Okay.
But in my program, the Cure series, in my book, Radiate the Brain and Change the Game, I'm saying this because I know a lot of companies are afraid, or they claim to be afraid to hire our youth. In my book, Radiate the Brain and Change the Game, the book is not just for personal development, it's also for professional development. And the book can be used as an assessment tool for hiring and for promoting. Many times you have many people, even in these mom and pop shops, that are in jobs that they really shouldn't be in. And what I mean by shouldn't, meaning that the job isn't suitable for the type of person, their skill set, or their lack of skills. And it's better to have someone that serves your business, even if it's a local mom and pop shop. You don't want someone in the back when they're good to be at the register,
right.
and you don't want someone at the register that's going to mess up the money when maybe they should be stocking or breaking down boxes. So if you can assess your employees, you can put them in a position that they can thrive at and they can really build. And then maybe later on they can pick up some other skills. But, that's part of the issue with the economy and why the 87% is 87%. People are not doing the jobs that are suitable for them, for their personality, for their temperament, for their character, and on and on and on. But I wanted to ask Nicole, back in the day we used to have programs, like after-school programs, and, you would go after school to study or play basketball, volleyball, have fun until it was time to go home. Your mom and dad get off of work. Now, I know you do line dance. Do you think that line dance or some kind of physical activity would be a plus for our youth? Because all they do is sit at home, get on their devices, and they stay like this, and they have no social skills because they are constantly in a box.
That's right.
A box of a tablet, a box of a phone, a box of an Xbox, a box of a television, and there's no activity. What do you think about that?
Well, while I don't personally work with young people, and I mean under 18, I do think that it's a great thing. Number one, because we have to have our young people healthy, just like everyone else needs to be healthy.
Right.
Excuse me. So just to give them that activity is an outlet.
Right.
Number one. Dale talked about how a lot of our kids are angry, frustrated.
Right.
So to have that outlet, that physical release is a great thing for them. Number two, it'll also help them to hone in on what their skills are. Someone may not even know that they're great at volleyball.
That's
Someone
right.
may not even know that they love hockey, just because they haven't had the opportunity, haven't been exposed to it. So it also gives them, number three, it gives them a chance to be a part of something. So they could be a part of a team, something bigger than just I.
Right,
Because it's
right.
not just about you. Nothing in this world that happens to you
right.
is about you.
Absolutely.
Say it again.
So that's the third thing that is a great reason why we should have activities for our young people. And then the fourth thing is because they develop. They learn life skills from anything that they are able to be a part of. And they can take that into their adult lives. They can take that into the
Right.
workforce. They can take that into their own businesses. Those skills are things that can help them their entire life to be who they were created to be.
That's a real important point. I talk about talking to our youth today, and a lot of times, they've left school or they're in and out of school, or they claim they're going to go to school and they really don't know how to get back because they didn't miss so many days. And
Right.
you ask them, what do you want to do? And they say, I want to play ball. But they're not thinking about, in your section of the city you live in, how many schools are there? out of all of those schools, how many kids want to play basketball? How many kids want to play football? Now let's go to Maryland. How many schools in each county within Maryland that are saying the same exact thing? How many players are on a basketball team? 13. How many players are on a football team? Maybe 50. What are the odds of you honestly being able to do that?
Right.
The odds are very slim, especially when you don't have the grades, the book knowledge. And there are and have been many exceptions, but you can't bank on an exception. And the key is, I used to give an analogy. I would tell kids when I spoke at schools, I asked them, what do you want to do? They say, I want to play basketball, football. I say, okay. So what do you do when the coach says, the roster's full? They say, I'll go play for another team. That's a good point. Okay. So what happens if you go to that coach and that team and they say, oh, the roster's full? Then they start looking up in the air because they've already run out of options. So I asked them, what's wrong with being or trying to be a coach's assistant, an assistant coach, a mascot even, a sports journalist, a sports therapist? Those are 5 or 6 other opportunities that keep you in the game. And you still you just may get your chance to get on the field or get on the court. And when you do, if you do that, you'll have a different perspective because you've been on the outside looking in for however long versus just being one in the number trying to play the game. So it broadens their perspective. So, Nicole, you're right on point. We have to give them a chance. They have to give themselves a chance too. And that's why it's important that these different perspectives that we have, these different industries and professions that we offer, from financial all the way down to social, are so important that they get a chance to hear from people like us.
But you know what, Sir Charles? Also, maybe they are saying, I want to be a ball player, whatever ball player that is because like you three said, that is what they see. That is what's in the community. But if we who are also in the community will bring these other programs to them and not worry about the numbers, that the numbers don't have to be large. If I can reach one child, then I'm a success right there.
Absolutely.
So we bring the business.
That's right.
And we bring the math and the STEMs and we bring the nursings and all those other things that they can choose from. Maybe ball playing won't be that big anymore, or I will be a ball player, but I'm going to be a businessman behind that because I need to know how to count my money.
Absolutely.
If we just expose them to a little bit more.
Yes.
And I agree. I remember several years ago working in this community. We did a cross-fertilization program with, I think it was 5 different neighborhoods, and we selected 4 youth out of each one of the neighborhoods. And we had the opportunity, was working with Columbia Heights Collaborative, and a lot of support from Councilmember Jim Graham at the time. And we did a project where we took 18, 20 kids to Aspen.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
And so the year before, we went to West Virginia, we went camping. We had some issues, things of that nature, but it was so cold. I think it was blessed by God. It was so cold they couldn't even concentrate on beefing. And myself, I was had to learn I didn't know what rustic meant.
Okay.
So read it, rustic. Okay, I don't know what that means. Went down there. That means no running water, no heat. You know what I'm saying? And so, and it was a great experience. And so when we had funding to do something bigger, we took them to Aspen, and we stayed with host families. And the idea was also had another program, Amila, Adams Morgan Youth Leadership Academy. And so when we did that, we said we want to do something where they have to depend on one another. Where they,
Wow,
And so they said, okay, the snow, okay. So we went to Aspen. We didn't pay for lodging. We stayed with very affluent families.
Okay.
And on the last day, we had 2 communities that were definitely at odds. The last day, I talked to my youth, and I said, so what do you think now about the situation? And he said, oh, I'm cool. We talking everything. I don't have a beef with him. I only have one concern. And I said, what? He said, don't take any pictures of us.
Why?
So now you're up here in Aspen, you snowboarding. You know, our kids snowboard.
Yes.
They snowboarding, drinking hot cocoa and cookies and everything you can possibly do up there. And it took me a moment to realize why he said don't take a picture of us, because he was concerned about coming back to the community.
That's right. Yes.
And getting blowback from his peers about being in Aspen with a feuding community. And so these environmental factors play a big piece, but that exposure is incredible. And I say that because, and of course we encountered some racist comments in Aspen. I think the population is 5,500. We didn't run into a lot of blacks every day. And we heard comments like pretty dark on the ski slopes today. But my kids, my kids, you know, they came
Don't
and say,
tweet that.
You hear that, Dale? You hear that? I said, yeah, but hey, that's their issue. That's not an issue with us.
That's right.
And we had an incredible time. And those kids came down that ski slope like you would not imagine. I'm talking about they really pushed it. So exposure, guidance, mentoring, supports is very important, and you have to walk through the trauma and the journey with these youth.
Yes.
And we're participating in Marybury Summer Youth Employment Program as well. And what I see is that first week you're building that relationship, right? That second week you're building that relationship. That third week you're building that relationship. But now you can definitely say and do things that you couldn't do the first week, because they see that you're consistent.
Absolutely.
They see that you care. They don't care what you know. They want to know how much you care.
That's right.
People don't care how much you know until they know that you care.
I want to share one thing, and I don't want to interrupt, but before, it's very, 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 can't say very enough, important that we remember that we have to vote. And not only do we have to vote, we have to teach our children to register and vote. This is a very, very important election year. And as so many people talk about, you know, we have control, but if we don't exercise that control, then we're constantly setting ourselves out. I want to share one more thing. Don't assume that our children, our adults, and our seniors are functionally ready to really do what needs to be done. In the Marybury Summer Youth Program, what I've realized in this last 5 weeks, that they're passing our children off. They're graduating them from high school. They're graduating them from college. And they can't read. They can't read, they can't write, they are concentrating on their phones, and when we talked about, you know, sports, they're preparing them to just play sports. So just want to share that.
Wow, we got to wrap this up. This was nice.
Yeah, you know, that's a systemic problem that's been going on for probably decades, honestly, unfortunately, especially for those who are fortunate enough to get into the athletic community, and they just get pushed through, and then when things don't work out, they get a knee blowout, they don't know what to do, they don't want to go back to school. So but I see that the key is to be authentic. You have to be aligned where you're designing. It's up to us again, us and people like us, from the financial again down to the social, to help these kids know that they are worthy, that they are valuable, and our communities as well. Our communities are worthy and valuable for more and to do more.
So very quickly, how can our community, we broadcast to 150 nations in all 50 states, how can they get in contact with you?
So Dell coming back.
Okay, you can definitely get in contact with me at 240-204-4821. Again, that's 240-204-4821. If you have any questions about programming, working with youth, issues in the community, you can definitely call and get in contact with me that way.
Okay.
Nicole McFadden, and you can get in contact with me on Facebook. I have a page, Line Dance Fitness with Inline Dancers. And I definitely can't leave without shouting out my partner in crime, Michelle Stroman, who helped me bring Inline Dancers into fruition. So definitely check us out on Facebook, Inline Dancers, and we are Line Dance Fitness with Inline Dancers.
And that's the letter N, inline dancers. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Actually, I'm serving as the president for the Blacks in Government chapter at HUD. I'm also serving as president for an organization called MOST, Mothers and Others Serving Together. And of course, my passion and organization is ROSA. For those who want to contact me via my website at www.ROASALIV as in Victor, ES.org. That RosaLives.org. I'm on social media, every platform. Look for Sharon E. Parker.
And Sir Charles Carey here. I'm also on all of the major platforms: Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter. Sir Charles Carey, whatever the platform / Sir Charles Carey. Right now, we're getting ready to go into season 2 for the keynote, and we got the conference coming up in October, and in August, about 2 weeks, I'll be in Atlantic City with the Blacks in Government Conference, teaching some classes on my signature program, The Cure for Your Life Starts With You.
All right, and that wraps up our segment, our special health segment with Around the Mic with Sir Charles Carey, and we're going to be back next week with our, I believe it's the social health.
Yes, I believe so.
Okay, and so between now and then, we want you to be safe, be smart, be healthy. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Well, I wear my clothes like this because I can. And I wear my hair like this because I can. And I walk around like this because I can. And I do my thing like this because it's who I am. And if you expect me to give you an apology for being nothing that you're used to, go right on ahead and wait. Hold your breath and concentrate. Keep holding till your face turn blue. My road ain't your road, but just I know just where I'm going. My flow ain't your flow, but just I know just how I'm flowing. I'ma do my thing. Please feel free to hate and complain. I'ma do my thing. Say what you want, but this one ain't gonna change. I'ma do my thing. I can't wear my clothes like you because I'm not. I can't do my hair like you because I'm not. I can't walk around like you because I'm not. I can't do my thing like you, well it just ain't hot. And if you expected me to give you an apology for being nothing like you used to, well go right on and head away. Hold your breath and concentrate. Keep holding till your face turns blue. See my road, it ain't your road, but trust I know just where I'm going. In my flow, it ain't your flow, but trust I know just how I'm flowing. I'ma do my thing. So please feel free to hate and complain. I'ma do my thing. And say what you like, 'cause this one ain't gonna change. I'ma do my thing. You don't know where I'm going, and so you think I'm lost. I ain't on your page, okay? So to you that means I'm off. When I dance to the beat of a drummer you don't hear and you can't see. So if I look offbeat to you, well the problem must be you, not me. Irregular and never